Hello everyone and welcome to our Gameweek 10 preview show. I'm Chris, Kieran's here too. Hey.
You right? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good today, thank you. Yeah, I'm alright. I'm looking forward to another week of football action. Maybe it'll be a better one. We'll see. Lots to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I think you're going to go over the how to delete your account tonight, right?
I was actually. Yeah, that's true. It's one of the top topics. It's overview of where the delete my team button is. A shock. Just some luck. It's just no luck, I was going to say. But anyway, let's have a look at your team because you're actually flying at the moment. Look at this, up to 55k.
I know, giddy heights at the moment.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so 78 points, gaming rank of 290k. Last 3-4 weeks have just been really, really good. So went from Bremo captain. I was pretty worried at the start of the game. Obviously,
I was like, you should do it last week, wasn't I?
Yeah, you did.
You should do it, and look. Yeah.
Yes. No, he was the top scorer of the whole week as well. 15 points. So obviously, I was worried when he was like, Whistle was getting all the turns, he wasn't getting any, and then late in the end he got the penalty, and then I guess a fortunate last goal. Like I don't really know what the keeper was doing for that last one. 30 points from him, fantastic. Henderson getting another clean sheet and I think it was a save point and a bonus, was it? So 8 points. Funnily enough, 2 clean sheets versus Spurs, and then the other one was United. So that's hilarious. And then Ait-Nouri coming in for Dunk. I was really annoyed at the time of just Dunk getting injured in the lineup, but obviously in the warm-up, and then Ait-Nouri came in with the goal, which was fantastic. Needed that. Lewis 6 points. He keeps starting. Got a return finally, or his second return because he had an assist. Finally a clean sheet. Salah's still going. Palmer came in. I did. I don't remember. I did Saka down to Palmer, and then I did. I think it was Saliba to Ait-Nouri. Yeah, that's what I did. So that was 2 free transfers. Palmer, unlucky to not get more, to be honest, with that marginal offside. He's looking good. Rodgers, unfortunate. Shame I didn't start Smith Rowe, I guess, but whatever. Solanke just being a nuisance in my team now, just doing nothing. Havertz again, all my front line doing basically nothing. Watkins and Rodgers had a good fixture. Bournemouth at home, I was expecting points there, but it's what it is. 78 points up to 55k. Green arrows in pretty much every league again. Loving the no Haaland life, I guess, at the moment.
The alternate captain picks. It's interesting that all of your like mid-priced forwards were blanked, because we're obviously going to talk about Haaland replacements tonight, and quite a lot heavy on forward. So it is interesting that I suppose it's probably the first week they've all done it in a while, but Solanke's not been good recently, and
indeed,
it's interesting. Nice, looking good. On the flip side of things, this is what looking bad looks like. 1 goal in the 4 game weeks for Haaland, and the captaincy. He didn't even get the 3 bonus in the end. He had that highest XG of the season or something, or even his Man City career against Southampton. So the game week couldn't have gone much worse, to be honest. Like I contemplated last week even doing Palmer and Wood for Watkins and Diaz. I didn't do it, and I thought, Watkins against Bournemouth will be good. Just need him to cover Palmer for this week. That didn't happen. Don't know why, but I kind of lined myself up to do Salah this week with this team here, and I brought in Johnson just so I could afford it. I didn't really think I was going to do that until late on Friday, and obviously I benched Smith Rowe, so that was some points. Don't know, the game week just seemed like it was going bad. Milenkovic got that yellow card in the last minute. Gabriel got injured, came off. Calvert-Lewin still stinks. So I don't know, it's just a bit. I feel like the team has never really been that bad, but it is just tanking at the minute. So it was a big red arrow.
And got points there.
Huh? What was it? Yeah.
She kept Saka and got points there.
That's true. Yeah, still got Saka, still got Mbeumo, and it was a bit dejecting, really. But anyway, it's just bad luck at the moment. I'm not going to put it much down to anything else. Really.
Just on mine as well, it was nice to see a green arrow when, obviously I don't own Haaland, and he's 70 odd % owned, and people triple captain him, and I'm still getting a green arrow without owning him and triple captains while getting a return. Like, yeah, good stuff.
I know. I was quite surprised. Like, we talked about it, didn't we, last week? It was there, the triple captaincy, and I suppose on another day he could have converted some of those chances. But I still think doing the triple captaincy over a double game week just got that slight more upside. Like, the extra, if it was a midfielder, the extra points obviously, as well as there's a chance to get bonus in 2 games. It's just more potential there. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and I've still got a wild card in my back pockets as well.
You're gonna burn that, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe at this point.
No reason to use it, I don't think, unless like loads of people get injured. But yeah, nice. All right, well, we've got a few things to talk about this evening, mainly on topic of Haaland replacements. See, I'm surprised actually that he hasn't had more transfers out this week. I thought there'd be more people who'd be fed up with him and getting rid, but he's not even in the top 15 transferred out. I got them on screen now. He's only had 75k roughly transfers out, and he's dropped down to 73% ownership. So yeah, I thought there'd be more of a mass bailout, but maybe not.
I mean, the fixtures on paper don't look bad. I wouldn't think. Like, at least the next 3, I think they still look decent for Haaland. But yeah.
All right. Well, should we kick off and talk about some of our replacements? We're sort of like pivoting this or angling this on the fact that he hasn't justified his price, pretty much, aren't we? Really. So it's on you, really. Like, I've not owned him all season, so true. You tell me. That's true. So all right, so you knew, well, heading into last game week, I kind of said if he doesn't return against Southampton, I'm like, in a big way, I'm prepared because of how badly I'm doing. Like, it can't get much worse to keep him at the detriment of the basically more premium players, essentially. So I've just said he's not been worth the money recently. I think evidenced by the fact that 2 mids have more points than him over the season, and both are considerably less. That's obviously Palmer and Salah in game weeks 9 to 6. So basically, since Rodri's been out full time and Pep's had need to restructured, City are only 7th for overall expected goals, despite playing Newcastle, Fulham, Wolves, and Southampton in that time. And in game weeks 6 to 9, his return on that, he's the 18th highest scoring forward. I suppose you can caveat that by the fact he's been second highest for XG. But at the moment, City aren't as fluent from an attacking point of view as they have been, and Haaland is being, let's say, more wasteful than usual. I think, if you're sorting by points per 90 minutes for the season and expected goals per 90 minutes for the season, Haaland shows up like second in both of those metrics. But I think what's evident and what's coming apparent is that there are multiple combinations basically of 2 strikers who at the moment are in like the 6.5 million or less category, who are outperforming him from like a points per 90 point of view and close on a XG per 90 view. So when you've got strikers who are like, you could basically have 2 strikers to cover him, and you can invest more of your money into midfielders for the captaincy and rotate that around. It just seems when he blanks, as you found, if you can hit what would be the differential captain, right, there's far more chance of increasing your rank, basically. And that's what you've experienced over the last 4 weeks, because you're right, you've gone, I don't know what you were at, like 1 point, we were like 6 or 5 points similar at the point of the wild card, and you're like 100 points ahead now, and that's
that's crazy, isn't it?
Captaincy across like a 4-week period. And I think I would say my team is suffering because I haven't picked the right differentials to go around Haaland. But I don't know, I just feel like taking him out gives you much more flexibility in getting a more rounded squad, which is what you've experienced. So
Game week 4 I was 2 million, game week 5 1.8 million, game week 6 around most people's wild cards I was 1 million, and then I jumped to 230,000 off game week 7, 133,000 now, 55,000. So all while not owning Haaland over his like 4 basically best fixtures he could pretty much have as well.
Exactly. And his fixtures are still, you're right, I don't think his fixtures are bad still particularly, and I think that is almost like bodes well, the fact that they still look good on paper in Bournemouth away and Brighton away and Spurs at home, because I think he's probably still going to be captained when Salah's got 2 back-to-back good fixtures at home. I don't think you can rule out captaining Palmer at home at the moment, given how good he's been, even though he's playing Arsenal, because Arsenal are not looking good defensively. So, yeah. All right. Well, let me just start by talking about some of the replacements, because I've come at it from an angle of like mid-priced, and I know you're talking about some cheap forwards today, because that's pretty much most of what we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
So on the top of fixture ticker, United potentially with this new manager bounce, they've got like after Chelsea, which I suppose is going to be a bit of an outlier because it could be that a new manager's in place and there might be this new manager bounce. Chelsea, Leicester, Ipswich and Everton. So that maybe brings Haaland into consideration, but 6.5 million, nah. Solanke has obviously still got some good fixtures in Aston Villa, Ipswich and Fulham at home, and 3 of the next 4 with that away game. But his XG in those last 3 games, he's had 0.92, 0.08 and 0.0 in the last 3 starts. So I'm like, meh. As well. Mateta like reared his head again because he got a goal at the weekend and Palace obviously won their first game. Their fixtures are not bad either. Wolves, Fulham, Villa, Newcastle again, but like a bit meh. So I was looking at, if I was going to downgrade Haaland, which mid-price forwards look good. So I think when I looked at the numbers overall, I can see that like the cheap budget forwards are outperforming most of the expensive ones on a regular basis this season, which I don't think we were expecting really. So I like classing the mid-price ones obviously as Isak, Solanke, Mateta, Havertz, Watkins and Nico Jackson. So I'd say, you would expect because of their price that after Haaland, those forwards should rank basically second to 7th in like all decent metrics. So if you sort by points per 90 so far this season, and I think like 9 game weeks now is a decent chunk of time because you're nearly like a quarter way through the season. So of those forwards, Jackson shows up 3rd for points per 90 minutes. Watkins is down in 5th. Haaland is obviously in there in 2nd. But all of the other options are 6.5 million or less. So in order, Wissa's got the best points per 90 of all forwards this season, better than Haaland. Then it's Jackson. Then it would Raul Welbs is in there. Then it's Watkins, Antonio, Delap and Cunha. So it's there's no sign of points per 90 for Isak, Solanke, Mateta, Havertz in that list. And then if you sort it by XG per 90, it's kind of a similar story. So they break in, like Jackson's still there, Watkins is still there, the positions slip to 3rd and 6th, and Havertz and Solanke come in, but they come in at 8th and 9th. So I kind of my point is on this that the expensive forwards so far are not returning at the same rate as the mid-price ones. And I was trying to think about why this might happen. So I can't think of it still is to do with the bonus point system. So the bigger teams, obviously Arsenal, Spurs, Havertz and Solanke have more attacking options, meaning that there is obviously more goal and assist share. Whereas most of the cheaper forwards are pretty much being the focal point so far this season. So Welbeck, obviously at Brighton, Wood, Raul, Cunha, Wissa, and they clean up the returns as well. All of those players feature highly. Let me just see if I can bring up the stats on that actually. But basically, the points per 90, the bonus point per 90 rate for all of the strikers favour like the lower priced ones.
I feel like that will surely even out towards the end. I feel like Watkins will probably be somewhere up there as like the 2nd, 3rd highest scoring striker at the end. Havertz will probably end up being like 4th or 5th. Like I feel like that will sort of even out. Like so? I think these are like sort of the cheaper ones are fixture dependent. So I think they're not consistent constantly. So I guess the mid-price ones aren't either maybe, but so sort of someone like Solanke has just been donkey, hasn't he? So with Richarlison back as well, like he's probably someone you should probably avoid at the moment. But there is good cheap ones as you said. So I'll be talking about them.
Well, just on that final point about the bonus points, right? So I've just got this up on screen now. So you can see here. So bonus point rate essentially per 90 minutes seems to favour the cheap strikers because, like I said about the share of points. So if I'm sorting bonus points like per 90 against all forwards, it's Wissa, then Wood, which kind of makes sense because every time Wood scores, because no one else is doing anything, he's usually claiming bonus. Haaland's obviously in there. Welbeck, Raul, Jackson's back in, Cunha, Evan Nilsson, Mateta, and then I think it's Watkins rounds out the top 10. So basically, it's Jackson and Watkins who are showing up here, which I think Jackson has shown up well in like all of these numbers, and I feel like he's even almost like at more reliable minutes than Watkins, and he's probably like one of the least owned of that bunch. But yes, generally my point is that at the moment, across which I think is quite a large span, 9 game weeks, none of the mid-price forwards are really showing enough consistency, probably apart from Jackson in here. Would you say, yeah, I don't know how you agree with that or kind of concur with that, or
numbers say that, and points wise it says it. So yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing sort of teams out there with like in Twitter land doing wildcards and stuff of just looking at, a front two of like Raul and Wood, or like Wood and I don't know, Cunha, and just having those two as like cheap forwards, and then going full premiums in mid of Salah, Palmer, Saka, and Buemo, plus whoever else you want, really. And then you get like a expensive back line of like Trent, Saliba / Gabriel plus Gvardiol, and a decent keeper, and that seems to be like it could be good, but it's it's relying on these cheaper forwards continuing to produce the good stuff. And as we've seen historically, I suppose that's not always been the case. So at least one will keep going, I guess. But like Muniz had a sort of big patch last year where he kept getting returns, and maybe that will happen. But yeah, I expect Cunha over these good fixtures going to be good. I think Raul, Wissa, I think all of those are good options, to be honest. And I think Jackson, like you said, is being overlooked as well. So what's his ownership at the moment, Jackson? It's got to be quite low.
I think it's quite low. Let me check.
17%. Okay, I'll just check. Yeah, so that's higher than I thought it would be, honestly. 17%. So yeah, maybe people should start be looking at Jackson, because their fixtures after the next two
12
are really good again.
Yeah.
So 12 onwards after United and Arsenal, and United is not a bad fixture. Leicester, Villa, Southampton, Spurs, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. Then they got City, West Ham, Brighton. Like like really I said, good. I think we said this about Palmer. Like you could basically just keep those Chelsea assets to the end of the season, pretty much.
Well, I think even like this immediate run is not bad either. Like United away, their defense has been like the 15th for us. I don't think it's going to like improve lots in like a week. Arsenal have not been themselves defensively. Like I think no clean sheet in the last 5 games now. Maybe, I don't know. Although it seems like Gabriel might come back, but I feel like Chelsea will fancy that game because they played well against Liverpool despite losing. And then Villa at
Stamford
home.
Bridge helps, I think. So
yeah, absolutely. And then Villa at home, which is given like a grey on the FPL fixture ticker. Villa haven't kept a clean sheet away from home all season and conceded either like a goal or 2 in each of the games. So yeah, I don't think that's like anywhere near a bad run for Chelsea. And I think Jackson is prime differential as well, because you're right. I think most people flock to Palmer when he is actually having a pretty decent season and going about it quietly. So fairly quietly. He's definitely not in many teams I've seen. 2 points behind Wood, and cheaper than Watkins, and has basically got about as many minutes as him so far this season. So
and he's above Havertz in the points, isn't he? And I've bigged up Havertz pretty much all year of just being such a great option in the Arsenal team, but he's just Havertz has been slightly unlucky, like last week with the goal that was disallowed from him. Like that was unfortunate. Like not really sure what happened there, but he's like, Jackson is far ahead of him. He's like a good nearly 10 points, more than 10 points. So Jackson looks to be good for that fixture run. Like why not have Jackson plus Palmer? That seems like a great option. Like I've got 3 mid-priced forwards I could just move on to him. Like I want to try and get Saka back, so one of these is going to have to go down, and Jackson seems like a great option.
I agree. I think Jackson looks good, and I think, but we've already seen that so far this season that he's happy to basically confirm that he's going to play his B team, and his B team at the moment it clearly includes Nkunku in the Conference League, and I think they might even have League Cup later tonight. So more probably confirmation that Jackson is absolute first choice.
So is Jackson your first choice for who you're looking at for a Haaland replacement?
I would probably say if you don't drop all the way. So I would say Jackson's in that mid-tier level. So I would say Jackson would be my top pick as Haaland replacement for mid-tier, but he probably wouldn't be top pick for low tier, which I'm classing as like 6.5 million or less.
Shall I talk about those then?
Yeah,
those 6.5 cheap forwards.
Definitely.
So yeah, under 7 million cheap forwards. They've all been pretty good, to be honest. There's been a lot of. This is rare for us in sort of FPL. Like forwards choice has been pretty limited over the last like 3-4 seasons, and now we've got loads of them to look at. So yeah, they've all been pretty good, but like Chris Wood and Welbeck have been pretty consistent throughout. But the points leaders for the 7 million under, like Wood on 59, Welbeck on 57, Raul on 41. So there's a bit of a drop off here, but like not too much. Like Raul 41, Cunha 41, Wissa 39, Delap 38. So even the people at like Ipswich, Delap is doing fine. Like Vardy 38, he's doing fine. Like Strand Larsen, like we've talked about a few times, 35 is still a fine option. Antonio, like, no, don't go there, 34. DCL on 31. So yeah, he's been a big troll. But Evan Nilsson still sort of finding his footing in the league on 30 points, but he's starting to get up there too. Yeah, so 5.9 million Welbeck at 19% owned is having a corking season. 6 goals, 1 assist so far in 9 weeks. Really good. Playing 78 plus minutes per game, it seems like. So he's absolutely nailed on. The last 6 weeks, he's had an XG of 2.97, which is 8th of all forwards. 19 shots, which is 4th. 6 big chances, joint 3rd. So he's tied on goal involvements with Wood at 7. And the next two fixtures for Welbeck is obviously pretty much as hard as it can get, to be honest, for Liverpool away and then Man City at home. So I don't think it's time to buy him, but like if you've got him, keep him. He'll be involved in goals. Like he has become the main goal scoring threat in that team. And yeah, while Pedro is out, Ferguson's still not getting so many minutes. Like Welbeck's a great option. Then Wood at 6.4 million, 16%. He's one that sort of got away from me. Like you haven't owned him either, I don't think. I didn't see this consistency coming from him, to be honest. Like Forest attacking
it's irritating
stats
though, isn't it? Because he did have really good fixtures to start the season, and I was like, Morgan Gibbs White. He's such a that third striker spot for me has been such a pain this season. I haven't got a single return. Like I played 3-4-3 every game week this season. I haven't had a single return for my third striker. I had Solanke for two game weeks, Muniz for like 3, and now Calvert-Lewin for 4. It just sucks, man. Yeah,
really. So just in general, Forest's attacking stats has not been great as a team, but he's popping up with points most weeks, as we've seen. His XG as a team is 7.5, which is 16th overall, but so like most of the XG is pretty much from him, I guess. Funnily enough, his stats don't really match up with his points, to be honest. His XG of 2.26 is not in the top 10 for strikers. Big chances of 6 is 10th of strikers, and then shots of 10, which is not in the top 10 of all strikers. Key passes, big chances created, and XA, all not in top 10 for strikers. So, Wood is somehow still managing to get points with those stats. But fair enough. Like I would say, he's probably overperforming. He's probably going to regress to the mean of him sort of not doing that much, but he's still got home games in the next 4 of West Ham, Newcastle, and Ipswich. So I think if you've got him, you absolutely warrant keeping him and just hope his sort of overperformance continues.
I think he reminds me a bit of like Ings, like a couple of seasons ago, where Ings just kept scoring and his like numbers weren't great.
Sure. So the cheaper ones, Raul, Cunha, and Wissa. I've done a little sort of comparison in what they've done so far this season. So points wise, 41, 41, and 39. XG of 3.42 for Raul Jimenez, Cunha 2.08, and then Wissa on 3.87. So Wissa winning that. Shots 23, 27, 13s. Cunha getting way more shots. Wissa, a little bit unfair to be putting him in here because he's missed about 5 games worth of minutes, but it's still like his numbers are still good compared to these guys. So big chances 7 for Jimenez, 2 for Cunha, 4 for Wissa. So Cunha not getting in as many big chances. Maybe a little bit worrying there. Expected goal involvement 4.5, 3.7, and 4.2. Key passes 9, 15, and 4. So Cunha is playing, that more of that 10 role. So he is getting that more assist potential as well. The big chances created is 4, 5, and then 0. So this is not getting any sort of big chances created. He's the one scoring the goals at the moment. Raul and Cunha, I don't think there's much to pick between them really. Like they're both solid picks at the moment. They both have favourable immediate fixtures as well. And then Wissa, as I said, a little bit unfair to include him in those, but However, when he has started games, he's got 70 minutes plus, he's got 11, 2, 8, 7, 10. And like you said, his points per 90, I think it was top, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So,
I think
that's
his
incredible
XG per
value.
90 is up as well, is top as well.
Sure. So, incredible value from 5.9 million at the moment. Like, he started at 6 million. He's dropped once because of his injury. Like, Brentford's fixtures, as far as I remember, are not that great. I think their run is sort of Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Everton away, Leicester at home. So the next 4 are good. So if you want to go for that cheap striker, I think Whistler over the next 4 seems like probably the best option, honestly, because like Bournemouth are just scoring goals for fun, it seems, at the moment, aren't they? So there's that. So all 3 players have good attacking numbers. Like the teams are pretty good at attacking well, like especially Brentford's obviously doing well. Wolves unfortunately have the 19th worst XG across the season, but they have had the hardest schedule of all teams. And we've seen over the last few games like they can score on most fixtures. Like Cunha has got 41 points despite playing Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool, Man City, and Brighton. So he's played the roughest fixtures possible, and he still managed to get 41 points, which is like, he's like the what am I looking at here? He is the 8th scoring forward at the moment. So I had to count that out. But that's pretty good for someone who's played that horrible, that horrible run of fixtures. So
and I think he's got going for him as well. Like when you talk about the numbers earlier, he's he's pretty creative as well. Like his key parts is like compared to the others is like I mentioned, is going to be good for bonus. So like any return he does get, he's going to be right up there for bonus points as well.
Yeah, and then Cunha's fixtures, as well as we talked about a few times, have been really good for a while as well. Like Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth. Like Palace, Southampton, and Bournemouth are all at home in the next 4. Everton, West Ham, Ipswich at home in 16 looks great, and then Leicester as well. So up until 17, the fixtures are amazing for Wolves. So
he looks like a nice buy and like forget about for that long.
Yeah, 100%. You just play him every week. Hope he gets something. And I think Cunha's best long-term fixtures, Visser best short-term, but then Raul also has good fixtures because of only Smith Rowe for the next few is going to be quite nice, hopefully as well, because he's got Brentford, who can't seem to defend at all, Crystal Palace, and then Wolves at home. So those 3 for Fulham is also good. So again, I don't think you can go wrong with any of those guys. And then also Wood, as I've obviously mentioned, like his next few fixtures are not bad either. West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, and then the Arsenal away, but then after they got the Ipswich at home. So like all of these these cheap performing forwards have got good fixtures too. Like apart from Welbeck over the next 2, but after that, Welbeck's got Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Palace, West Ham, Brentford. So pick whoever the hell you fancy, basically.
Yeah, I agree. They're all doing well. It's just typical. Like the player that did have the longest set and forget fixtures was Calvert-Lewin, and he's just done bad in easy games. And I think that's probably going to be the trick to the low price forwards, is trying to make sure you've got them for decent fixtures where they're playing teams around them, and try to do that with Calvert-Lewin, obviously playing Palace, Newcastle, Ipswich, and Fulham. And then to get no returns off the back of that, it's bad. But he's still got decent fixtures in the short term as well. Like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but he's got 3 of the worst defences now coming up: Southampton, West Ham, and Brentford. So
he has had chances as well.
Yeah, he's probably been unlucky, but at the same time, he's not. Perhaps he's not as good. But yeah, if you've had him this long, maybe it would be worth just seeing if he can get over the line in any of these next 3.
Yeah, and then Ash in the chat has asked, he's thinking about doing Havertz to Cunha this game week. I don't think that's a bad move, honestly. I'm possibly keeping Havertz. Like, I think he's like Newcastle away is not a horrible fixture, but then again, like Arsenal have not been that great attacking wise recently. So selling Havertz is not the worst, I wouldn't say. And these cheap forwards seem to be doing well, and Cunha I can see getting points this weekend for sure.
All right. Should we do some matchup chat?
Yes. There's a dog.
I can hear you've got a dog, haven't you?
It's not mine. It's outside. Going crazy.
It's going crazy. It's because it's Halloween.
Right.
Right. So we talk about. Oh, we could talk about Erik ten Hag for a little bit, because the matchup I was going to chit chat about was United against Chelsea. So obviously ten Hag's sacked. It looks like they're close to appointing this new guy. Potentially they're talking about in time for the weekend. Not sure if that one happened,
Yeah,
and
that would
then
be too early.
yeah, what difference it'll make. I don't know. Like I didn't mind Ten Hag as a United manager, but I feel like the players just like lose faith, and the system just gets dragged through the mud. I think it must be such a difficult job. Like he was such a good manager at Ajax, or like seemed to be good in that league, and now they're just going for someone in the Portuguese league who's kind of got like similar credentials, like managing in that sort of level of league. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm
I think
not confident.
I was going to say, Ten Hag, I think he said, like, if you sack me, I'll go win trophies somewhere else because that's what I do. And it's just like, yeah, he probably will,
Yeah,
to be honest. Like, he'll probably go to a lesser league and he'll
win some
win trophies. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. It's a strange one. I feel like the recruitment. I just think United's players at the moment are not good. Like in that game against West Ham, it was evident. Like I don't think that was. Let's just say it wasn't Ten Hag's fault. Like they lost that game.
No,
Like
Delo. What about that miss?
They had Sophie Garnacho had a great chance. Bruno had a couple of decent chances, and then obviously the penalty decision. So I don't know. I just think they've not been clinical this season, and the numbers sort of back that up. Like I think they've missed the most big chances this season, and their attack isn't great, but it's better than their league position. 14.7 xG this season is 7th of all teams, and obviously they're down in 14th. But the expected goals conceded is bad. That's 15.5. That's down in 15. So despite the fact that he was harping on about the defence being good, it's actually not been a lot better than last season. And speaking about this game specifically, they've not been good at home. 7 goals conceded in 4 games at Old Trafford, nearly 2 per game. They obviously got battered 3-0 against Liverpool and Spurs, and they've only scored 3 in 4 games. I don't see, even if the new manager has come in, or even if it's Van Nistelrooy, I don't see how they win against Chelsea this game. I think Chelsea were pretty good in that away game against Liverpool, and fairly decent against Newcastle. I don't know. I just feel like Maresca should come in again with all these players, and he's made quite a coherent team from the outside looking already. And Ten Hag's been there, or was, such a long time, and I don't see how the mess he left behind is going to be fixed quickly. So yeah, I think it's looking like a Chelsea win this weekend. And the reason obviously to talk about them is continuing a little bit the theme from earlier about Jackson being a good Haaland replacement to invest money elsewhere. But like I say, I think their run is good from now. So they've obviously got United this week, Arsenal at home the week after, and like I say, Arsenal have not been good defensively in the league recently. So I would expect Chelsea to be able to score at least a couple in that game. Then they've got Leicester, Villa at home, who are porous at the back in the Premier League as well. Southampton, Tottenham away, who've not been good, and then you mentioned Brentford being one of the worst teams in the league from a defensive point of view. So we talked about their run being good. So I think 3 of the 4 are considered tough, but United defence is bad. Arsenal defence has not been good, and with Palmer averaging 9.8 points at home and Aston Villa leaky, I can see him specifically as a buy, obviously from now if you don't have him, and Jackson to that end too. I think he's probably looking like the best value forward in the game with this fixture run coming up.
Yeah, I think Palmer's scored a hat-trick against United last season. Yeah, I think at
Stamford Bridge.
Old Trafford. Was it Stamford Bridge? Okay. But at the same time, he's now 55% owned in the game. So you're going to start needing to look at him for captaincy if you want to get some big gains from him. And you're going to probably want to offset him to get much points from that offense with Jackson, to be honest. So need to start seriously looking at that Chelsea team. And like I said last week, Palmer was unlucky not to get 2+ returns. And I don't know, maybe it'll sort of surprise us to keep it at least slightly tight. Maybe a 1-1. I could see something like that maybe, but a 2-0 Chelsea wouldn't surprise me either, sort of thing. So
I don't see them keeping a clean sheet.
No, I don't see Ruud van Nistelrooy taking over. He was working with Ten Hag. If Amorim is in for the weekend, he's not going to have any sort of output or change any tactics yet. So I think Ruud van Nistelrooy probably won't change much either. So I think it's just going to be same old for the time being. So and that just leads to Chelsea beating them and Palmer being involved and Jackson being involved and whoever else.
From just like a Palmer side of things, I think for me, I just didn't expect, even still now, like I know we're 9 game weeks in and I've obviously like missed the boat on him, and you only got him last game week as well, but I didn't expect him to be as consistent under a new manager. But like he has been so good. He's outscoring Haaland. He's only 5 points behind Salah. I saw an interview when someone was talking to him about like goals and assists, and he was like, "Oh, and the most FPL points." So it's obvious like he knows about that as well, which I think is nice. And he is like he's such a creative player as well. He's selfish enough to be a good finisher as well. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't expect him to be this good this season.
Yeah, and he got like 25th-ish or something. I think it was in the Ballon d'Or. I think that seemed a little bit low after the season he'd had.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's averaging 9.8 points per game at home this season, and I don't think that's going to drop off at all in the Arsenal game. I could see him easily getting like a return and bonus there on the back of it as well. So yeah, I think he's basically good from now.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so.
Is there any more?
That's why I got him.
Yeah. Any more you want to add on this game or?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, doke.
Yeah. Okay, so so the matchup I want to look at is Liverpool versus Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Salah just quickly. Like, do you own him at the moment? I can't remember if you. No, you didn't. So you had Haaland instead. Salah, like 40% ownership at the moment. He's back to the summit of the FPL points. Like 84 points is first. Like it's about 9 points ahead of Haaland now. As you said, Palmer's also passed Haaland now on 79. So yeah, he's been amazingly consistent this season, something he's sort of lacked over the last few seasons at times. But yeah, this year 14, 10, 17, 2, 6, 10, 3, 12, 10. So he's single-handedly pretty much was the one that like sort of kept me at least within like the 2 million rank on the first few weeks by like me captaining him and keeping up with Haaland. So 6 goals, 5 assists so far. Able to provide returns from goals and assists, which is obviously vital for a captain choice in FPL. Game week 4 to 9, so his stats are like XG of 3.39, which is first. Shots 17, which is 8th, which is still fine. Big chances himself 5th, which is 4th. An XGI of 4, which is 3rd, and then key passes of 12 and big chances created of 1. So big chances created is lower than I expect it to be. But we've seen he can have sort of like bad games from an eye test point of view, and he can still just pop up with a return. Like it happens all the time. Like he's had stinkers over the last few weeks, but he's still getting points, and that's what you want from an FPL asset. Brighton have lost Dunk in the defense. I think he's out for roughly about 3 to 4 weeks ahead with a groin strain, I think it was. Their defense at the moment is on 9.6 XGC, which is the 14th worst, and losing Dunk is probably going to make it worse as well. So Salah versus Estepinian / Kadioglu. Take your pick who's going to play there. Like I fancy him for getting returns. I think he's going to be my captain this week at home, obviously versus Brighton as well. So it should be an open game because Brighton are going to attack. So I think there'll be space on the counter for him. It could be a game where he gets more assist potential in this one with Nunes running on possibly. I just like my chances for points from Salah here. Liverpool's XGC is still top of the table at the moment, but Arsenal showed that they can be rattled, so that they obviously conceded 2 against Arsenal. But 5 goals conceded now, which is still top, but they've only had 2 clean sheets in the last 6 weeks. So I do expect Welbeck to at least get some chances. I don't think there's necessarily a clean sheet for Trent here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do actually keep one at the same time. So Trent, just to mention, he's on 29% ownership now, 7.1 million. He's been pretty consistent too. 8, 6, 6, 1, 11, 1, 8, 2, and 1. So he is getting a couple 1s and 2s in there where he's getting yellow cards, which is unfortunate. But the surprising thing, I guess not surprising to everyone, but 1 assist in 9 weeks. That's all he's got.
I'm surprised.
It's not the Trent we know and love for other seasons. However, he's not 8.5 million anymore. He's 7 million, and that's not really that expensive, considering we have the money if you're not owning Haaland. 44 points puts him just below some, like comparing him to kind of like 7-ish million like midfield players, like it puts him 1 point below Bowen on 45, Maddison on 45. He's ahead of Son at the moment. Like he's ahead of Johnson, ahead of Jota, ahead of Semenyo, etc. All those people like everyone basically has in their teams. Like he's doing well for his position. defense and his price. Like, he is good value still. Yeah, so game week 4 to 9, his stats like shots 7th, which is 8th of all defenders. XG of 0.23 is not in the top 20 of all defenders, which is rare for him. But then 0 big chances, yeah, that's not surprising. 10 key passes though, 2 big chances created, and an XA of 1.51, which is first of all defenders. So for me, clearly more assists are going to be coming. Like, he's been unlucky. The chances he's going to keep creating for Salah and for Nunes and Diaz, etc. So yeah, my opinion would be keep the faith in him. I think their fixtures are okay over the next few. So yeah, I still like having him. Salah captaincy this week. Yeah, I think Liverpool was still good.
What do you think about Jota being out and Darwin being now primed to take it? Because Jota's out until the end of November, I think he said. So until he said out until after the international break. So that would mean Darwin would get Brighton at home, Villa at home, and Southampton away. I know he's been unreliable last season, but he's not a bad differential. 2 goals in 280. Oh, sorry, 2 returns in 280 minutes this season. I know last season you had a horrible time owning him for the most part. But...
Yeah, I mean, he is an option for people who want to go there. Like, you can if you want. Like, he will, no doubt, if starting, will get some returns. But I think he's hard to trust. And just like there's just better options in there for these around that price. Like, what is his price? Like 7.5-ish? 7.1. Okay. Yeah, so there's just like Jackson's at what, 7 point something?
9.
7.9. Okay, right. So yeah, Solanke around that price. I mean, he's not been doing. He's probably better than Solanke.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just cheaper players that are just going to outscore him at the moment. Like Wissa, I think, is going to outscore him for sure. Cunha probably as well, and yeah, Wood will probably keep getting a couple goals and outscore him. Like, yeah, I don't think Nunes is a great option, even though he could be an option, and he could do well. Like, he is explosive at times. So yeah, if you go there and he does something, then good for you. But he'll probably just be a risk eventually anyway. Gapco could play there instead. Like, he's not necessarily fully nailed, even though Jota's out.
No, I agree. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, really, because it's we had to have confirmation that the Liverpool centre forward is going to be out for a while, and you've seen that he's not going to play Gakpo or Diaz. It looks like Darwin will play there the most of the minutes. And just going back to your point,
I feel like Gakpo could play there.
Yeah,
like but I guess we'll see. Yeah.
Nick in the chat said Trent is not as attacking and not worth the price, but it is interesting that Virgil took over, or Van Dijk took over him this game week on with the header. But I feel like Trent is. I mean, he's got 3 prime fixtures, and he can return big at any time. Like, he's been unlucky not to get more returns this season. And it takes like 1 game for him to pop off and everyone be chatting about him. And even last week, we were talking about Guardiola just saying, look, he needs a clean sheet, and he's going to be like one of the template players, and he'll jump right up. And he got clean sheet last week. I think he got max bonus points. He did. I'm just having a look now, and he's like had maybe like a price rise this week already, and he's gone up in price, and he's now like tucked right in underneath Trent and Van Dijk at the top.
Yeah, if you're keen on keeping Haaland, then Trent maybe isn't worth the price. So yeah, you certainly could move on from him. Like, he hasn't been getting those assists, but I think we're both backing him to get some coming soon. And I think their clean sheets are still there for Liverpool. So yeah, if you're keen on keeping Haaland, I think you probably could move him on. But other than that, I think he's absolutely a fine keep.
I think their only bad game on paper was the Arsenal game. Like, if you were looking from probably the start of the season until now, and then even now 2 back-to-back home games and then an away game against Villa, I think that's fine. They got a couple of tricky ones against City, which I imagine will be a tight game just because it's 2 top teams, and then the run just returns to general mix of green fixtures with a Newcastle game in there. So yeah, I mean, I could be wrong about Trent, but I feel like you're right. I feel like his price at the moment for what he can offer and their improved defensive stability this season means, yeah, he's one to hold, I think.
Agree.
Cool. All right, should we do our teams?
Yeah. Give me the the spoilers of your team. I guess you've done a lot of moves.
I did. So obviously on Sunday night, I was unhappy with Haaland. I never make I never make early transfers either as well. So I just I just feel like the season was just going nowhere. So I took out Haaland, took out Watkins, and I upgraded Johnson, who I brought in, and Smith Rowe, who had irritated. A lot of the moves were based on irritation. So
Paul Smith Rowe. You kept Rodgers instead.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did. Just because I thought the funds were better. But yeah, Smith Rowe was annoying because I was playing him all last week until like the Friday, and then I benched him. Anyway, so yeah, I made those 4 moves. I've got obviously still Saka in place, so the midfield is just like stacked. And the reason I went for Wood was because he's still got 3 good home games in the next 4, and he's in form.
Yep.
So I thought there's no point like trying to be like risk averse there. Cunha's obviously got great fixtures, so let's back that. Calvert-Lewin's still got.
I was going to say he's still in there.
He's still in there. He's hanging on. Well, my thought with Calvert-Lewin is I don't really want to make another transfer to get rid of him just because I didn't have any. He's still got good fixtures. I will like Welbeck or Jackson from Gameweek 12. So let's build some more transfers to have for then. And then yeah, that was it really. My main decision was whether I was going to get Cunha for Welbeck or Nori for Gabriel. But when I was looking at the attacking numbers for Welbeck, he's just on the edge of that top 10 at the moment, and for that price, when I could have a more premium, and also I suppose in the short term he'd like let me down in the Bournemouth game where I needed something to cover Palmer for that one. So yeah, I probably Palmer doesn't have optimal fixtures perhaps compared to Haaland for the next 2, but I like Saka and I like having Salah again now. So yeah, it is what it is really.
Yeah, captain firmly on Salah.
Captain on Salah this weekend. Probably Vice on Palmer or maybe Wood, but yeah, that's how it is. And to be honest, I feel like it could, but it can't go much worse than it has been going. So let's just try something different.
I mean, it could. You're in the behind the sofa every week watching Haaland play now.
I don't know. Maybe there's some cozy spiders down there.
What do you think about Rodgers? Because I've got him benched in my team. You've got him benched. Yeah. Like anyone that's looking to play him, do you think it's a fine fixture? I think it is. Tottenham away is not that bad.
Yeah, it's all right. I suppose I'm not going to play him in it over anyone in my team.
Sure.
I still think he's probably the. I only had 4 transfers to play with, so I couldn't like make any more big sacrifices. But yeah, I kind of thought Rodgers is probably the best value at that price point for reliable for minutes. So yeah, I can hold him through Tottenham away and Liverpool, and then use him either to rotate with a striker from game week 12 or not really. So
yeah, I think the 56 minutes sub was probably just rest. Like he's been playing all the Champions League, all of the Premier League. People like Watkins and stuff have been getting more rest and subs, so like he was due that, I guess. But I see, so I don't think that's an issue. No. Going to be an issue at all.
Jammer said in the chat, moves based on irritation are the best. Yeah, he's so right. I was just like, everything that could go. I just didn't have the luck last week, and I just had to laugh about it because, like, everything that could have gone wrong, I felt like went wrong, and then to end up at like 46 points. I was just like, this is not good.
Rough.
Yeah. Anyway, and it's what I saw people on Twitter. I feel like a lot of people also are having like not too good starts because they backed Haaland captaincy in the last 3 game weeks. So I don't feel like I'm alone in having a bad start to the season. Like you look at some of the leagues we're both in, and the people at the top are not normally at the top, and vice versa. So yeah, I feel like there's still time, obviously. So let's try something different for a bit.
I feel like it, but at the same time, like if I'd owned Haaland, I would have captained him for those. Like everyone who owned Haaland for those fixtures was captaining him. Like there was no reason to look anywhere else. So you've just been unfortunate, I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, I feel good. I feel like Salah captaincy locked in for the next 2 easy back-to-back home games, and then I don't mind obviously having rotating between any of the 3 midfielders, and let's just see how it goes. Obviously, get to keep Trent. Gabriel looks like he's going to be fit. I've got some money in the bank still, so. Yeah.
It's a nice red team.
It is a red team. I know. I don't like that. I want more colour balance. So yeah, there you go. The big reveal. Right. Nice. Should we have a look at your team?
Yes. So
wrong one. There we go.
Okay. So I would love to get Saka back, but I think I'm going to have to wait on that. I'd love to, put Solanke in the bin, but I'm probably going to have to wait on that too, because I'd like to keep Watkins, and Solanke is not going to give me enough funds to get Saka back from, I guess, say Smith Rowe. So, I'm going to have to kind of bide my time with a few transfers for a couple of weeks. I think, hopefully Saka doesn't too much over the next two. I'll probably going to be leaning towards that sort of stacked mid with Saka, 3 premiums in there, Saka, Palmer, Salah, and Buemo. And that seems to be an optimal 4 mid at the moment. Happy to play Smith Rowe in this fixture against Brentford. He's obviously got an assist last week. Hopefully he can get a goal or an assist this week because the Brentford can't defend, as I said. Salah captain. Vice will probably be on Palmer, even though on the picture it's on Smith Rowe. Watkins hopefully can do something. Hopefully there's goals in that game. I don't know, to be honest.
So have you only got one transfer at the minute? I can't remember what you.
Just one. I did use 2. Yeah. So, Dunk being out is unfortunate because I've got no backup for defense, but I don't see anyone missing out in my team. Well, Lewis, I guess, could, which would be unfortunate.
Dunk's out for a while, isn't he?
Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks, I think. So maybe I would have to do a Dunk transfer just to have some backup on the defense because Lewis missing out would be not good. Other than that, I think the team probably is fine to just roll for a bit. Hopefully Havertz can get something. Hopefully Mbama gets something against Fulham. Maybe Solanke over the next 2 because he's obviously got Ipswich after that. I think it's fine to keep. It's just get involved, lad. Do something.
Who was that? Sorry, who needs to get involved?
Slanky, yeah. Because the next 2, because of Ipswich at home after this, I feel like I probably just shouldn't get rid of him yet. So, it's kind of just
the Ipswich game.
Yeah, it's like with Calvert-Lewin, just keeping him even though he's doing nothing. But at least Calvert-Lewin gets chances and he has some XG. Yeah. Solanke does not.
I actually think Calvert-Lewin's going to return this week. Away against Southampton. Southampton have to get some points. I feel like this is the week he gets some return finally.
Yep.
Sorry.
So this week my team, I'm not feeling as confident as I have the last few. A little bit worried about Havertz, as I said, but otherwise I think the team is okay, and hopefully Sankey does something. So
it's funny because it sounds like you want to, from what you talked about at the start, then and wanting to get Saka back. The way you would do that is obviously have to downgrade a forward, maybe 2 forwards to get him back.
Yes.
Which ones would you lose first then? Solanke and Havertz?
I think so. I think I want to keep Watkins just so consistent. He just always returns. So even though Watkins is the more expensive, I think most people are going to try and not have or try and get Saka or whatever in that premium midline by getting rid of someone like a premium-ish forward. And I like Watkins as a bit of a differential.
Yeah, fair enough. You could probably do it, couldn't you, with Solanke and Havertz down to 6.5 million-ish, and then you'd probably have enough there.
Yeah, I'll just have to work out. I've not actually looked at the prices properly, but yeah.
Yeah, see, I think
it should be down.
My next move, I've got to say about this season, I've really quite, even though I've obviously not having a good start, and I like the man on in the chat said, "Comeback starts here, Chris," which I like. Yep. But I really like stacking the transfers. This is the second time I've done it to have 4, and it actually the first time I had 3, and now I have 4. I think it's really good because then I feel like you can target like a fixture block. So now I'm thinking I'm just going to roll until game week 12, which admittedly is not too far away, but maybe just to have a bit of breathing space to think about it, and then maybe make a couple of different moves. And I think it's quite a nice feature now.
Yeah, the most I've got to is 2 so far. As much as I'd love to get to 5, I have not got anywhere near it. So if I was going to move Dunk out, who do you think is the best option? Honestly, I don't even know.
4.5 million. Don't know. You'd probably spend a bit more, couldn't you?
I don't have much in the bank, to be honest. Yeah, I've got 0.8 in the bank.
Don't know.
So,
that's a good question.
Yeah, there isn't much there, is there?
Trying to think who else is looking good defensively at the moment. Probably it's difficult because I feel like there's
maybe Forest, like you said.
Yeah, Forest have got 3. I mean, I'm quite happy with Milenkovic, even though he's not that attacking. They have got some good fixtures and they've been good defensively. They've got West Ham, Newcastle, and Ipswich in 3 of the next 4, but then it's a bit rougher. But yeah, he could be a
Like,
good shout.
Everton's are not that bad, so I could get a Mikalenko or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, doesn't look great.
No, there's not really lots like at that.
Considering I've already got Wolves defense,
Yeah.
I don't really want two. That's for sure.
What about Fulham and Robinson? Maybe he was good for me at the start of the season, but
Yeah,
they haven't been like that tight recently. I don't know if anyone in the chat's got any ideas, but yeah, Robinson maybe not too bad. I'm just trying to think who's good.
Maybe I'll just leave him. Just yeah.
You've kept Barco.
Yeah. Thank God for the price lock on that, because I've not had to deal with him at all. Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else has actually been good this season. Yeah, Forest defense. Anina and
I think that's
Justin.
it, isn't it? That is the only option.
Yeah, Robinson's just got 1 point fewer than Nori. You could just sideways to Veltman, but because for their if you keep him you could keep him bench, but then he's back for their good run in game week 13.
Actually, I don't think Veltman's fully nailed though, is he? To be honest.
No, I don't think he is actually. Well, he's missed one game. Anyway, there's some thoughts.
Simicast. No.
Okay, yeah, maybe. After Saka turned Robinson inside out.
Yeah, Leaf Davis option from Jammer, maybe. Hate like Ipswich's defense is atrocious, but he has been getting a couple of assists recently, so yeah, not bad.
Yeah, definitely some decision there. Michael Keane is cheap and he's been playing, but that's probably only until Braithwaite's back.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't seem that exciting, does he? Yeah, Forest. You can join me on Forest defense. It's been all right, really. So I don't mind it.
Oh, I think I'm just gonna roll it, and just hope Lewis plays.
Fair enough. All right, well, that's it, isn't it?
Indeed.
Join us next week for a couple of green arrows. That's the confidence. That's the springboard coming back. Cool. All right. Anything else to say?
No.
What about Happy Halloween?
A happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah, that's right. All right, cool. See everyone next week. Bye.
Yeah, cheers all.
Bye.